Now, thank you guys. Thank you for showing up once again in this beautiful channel. Your support is highly appreciated. Now, let me tell you one thing that has just happened in Burkina Faso, the western part of Africa. Do you remember on the 3rd day of January 2026, there was a foiled coup that was in Burkina Faso? The coup that was plotted, and the main aim was to take away the life of former president of Burkina Faso, President Traoré. Now, even though the coup was foiled, the mastermind of this coup, the main perpetrator of this coup, was the former president of Burkina Faso by the name President Damiba. Now, you can remember very well that President Damiba was ousted in 2022 by the current president, President Traoré. Now, after he was removed from power, President Damiba fled to Togo, specifically Lomé. Lomé is the capital city of Togo. So President Damiba fled to Togo, and he was there from 2022 up to 2026 when he plotted the coup. Now, according to the people who were part of the coup, of course they were arrested, yes, but according to the testimonies that we were giving, they were speaking the same language. The main thing that we were saying is President Damiba was the one who planned the coup. Now, even though he was not physically in Burkina Faso, he arranged the coup, he mobilized people, he provided funds for the coup to take place. Now, recently, Togo expelled Damiba, the former president of Burkina Faso. Even though he was residing in Togo, he was expelled by Togo as a country. Now, Togo is saying that they were not sure if Damiba was the one who was planning or who had planned the coup, but according to them, they did some serious investigations and they decided that President Damiba was not suited to be in Togo, Lomé. So they arrested him and he was sent back to Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou. Ouagadougou is the capital city of Burkina Faso. So he was sent to Burkina Faso. Now, even though both governments, the Togolese government and the Burkina Faso's government, they've not clearly commented on the same, sources say that Damiba is in Burkina Faso as we are speaking right now. Of course, he's going to face some serious charges. Of course, that is treason. Treason, guys, treason. Trying to overrun the government, trying to change the government unconstitutionally. Now, and according to reports, this happened after claims that he was involved in planning coup. Of course, yes, because all over the time, people have been talking about the coup in Burkina Faso, and the mastermind of this Burkina Faso coup was President Damiba. Now, so let's talk about what really happened and why this matters in the arena of politics in Burkina Faso. So, Damiba is not a random politician, of course. He was a president in Burkina Faso. He was a president. He promised so many things when he was the president. So, he's also a soldier who became president through a military coup. Now, main thing about these countries in the Sahel region, they not necessarily hold elections. Most of them, presidents are unconstitutionally removed from power. Except for Guinea. 2 days ago, Guinea had an election. President was chosen constitutionally. But most of East, or rather West African countries, they don't hold elections. So presidents are unconstitutionally removed from power. Now, in the early 2022s, President Damiba helped remove the then president who was the president of Burkina Faso. And at the time, the country was fearing serious attack from the armed groups. Actually, up to now, Burkina Faso is still facing serious armed attacks from different groups within the Sahel region. That led to these Sahel countries forming an alliance like NATO to combat these groups. Now, actually, this was the main reason why these countries they moved away from ECOWAS, because they felt that ECOWAS was not doing enough when it comes to combating criminal activity. So they formed their own alliance to partner with each other with the help of Russian governments to fight these insurgents. Now, Damiba also promised that he was to take care of security, but things didn't totally improve. So, 8 months later, Damiba himself was overthrown. Now, guess who overthrew Damiba? The current president of Burkina Faso, who is President Traoré. Now, Traoré is now loved all across the continent, honestly. And I don't think there is one famous president in Africa as President Traoré. Things have really changed in Burkina Faso. The economy is really booming in Burkina Faso thanks to President Traoré. Another group of soldiers also tried to remove Traoré, but now they were not successful. Now, Damiba fled to Togo after the January 3rd attempt to remove President Traoré. So for years, of course, Damiba has been living in Lomé, but earlier this month, Burkina Faso military said that there was a coup attempt, of course, which was planned by President Damiba. Also, they claimed that some of the planners were operating outside the country. Now, it was not Togo alone. Some of the countries that also surround Burkina Faso, they were accused of hosting some of these coup plotters. Now, Togo now decided to arrest this gentleman by the name Damiba. No public explanation was given and no clear destination was given until some few minutes ago, where sources says that President Damiba was taken back to Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou. So this move shows that there is some seriousness when it comes to government fighting terrorist activities. So Togo usually avoids taking sides actually. So expelling a former president sent a strong message across West Africa, even though they had already denied that they were not part of this and they didn't knew that Damiba was the one who planned the coup until they were satisfied with their investigation before they made arrests to President Damiba. Military governments also are tense, and a lot of people actually were happy, and they are happy up to now in regards to President Damiba's arrest. So for Burkina Faso's leader, the incident, of course, supports their claim that they are under attack, and that allows fighters to control less politically dominant regions within the Sahel. Lastly, guys, I can make a disclaimer on this. Whether this is about security or power, it remains unclear. But the thing is, 90% of the people who were arrested after the coup was foiled, they are claiming that Damiba was the mastermind of this coup. He is now to be taken to the court martials, of course, because he was a former military, even though he was expelled, and to be charged for treason. One thing is clear: exile is no longer safe. We as Africans should come together, we unite, we condemn the evils, and we support each other to make sure this continent is catapulted to another orbit in matters development, in matters good governance, and in matters taking a center stage in the world arena. And this also shows us that we as Africans should remain strong. We stand with Burkina Faso, we stand with President Traoré, and we are against all the evils that are taking place within the Sahel region, within the Sahel